I'm a guy that's 24. Each day I build some more. I like the sequels. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back with another video, and today we are going to discuss the new Rise of Skywalker trailer that just dropped. I want to do basically a shot-by-shot, scene-by-scene breakdown slash analysis slash discussion. You name it, I'm going to do it, and I would love to know what you guys thought about this trailer in the comment section below, so let's go ahead and dive right into the video. We're initially greeted with the familiar Lucasfilm logo, nothing too special there. And then we come to our forest planet with Rey running through the forest. She's running like Forrest. She's running like Forrest in the forest. How about that for a joke? But yeah, I actually really like this sequence a lot because it kind of harkens back to when we first meet Rey. Like, she's rummaging and jumping through the ruins of an Imperial Star Destroyer, and now she's jumping through the ruins of an Imperial Death Star. So it's a nice little parallel to the beginning of The Force Awakens, but she's obviously in a completely different place right now with a completely different mission in mind, yet she's still able to tap back in to those skills she had as a scavenger. So I don't know, I just kind of like the parallelism of that. If we move forward, we get a good shot of my boy Finn. Shout out to my boy Finn. Looking good right there. And Rey is running again. She's running a lot in this movie. I like this shot a lot because it just establishes the state of the Resistance at this point in time. As we know, at the end of The Last Jedi, or really throughout the entirety of The Last Jedi, the Resistance was dwindled down to a mere dozen or a few dozen people at the end of the film. But now we can see that they are repopulated by a bunch of people, and that's cool to see. It's nice to see the Resistance a little bit more lively. And the other cool thing about this is a lot of the costumes are actually kind of holdovers from The Last Jedi. Like, I see a lot of familiar jumpsuits and ponchos, and just the general aesthetic is very similar to what we saw through The Last Jedi and like the scene on Crate. So I just like that consistency, especially from like a Lego Star Wars fan. The fact that my Last Jedi Resistance minifigures are going to be applicable to this movie, I appreciate quite a bit. So if we move through, yeah, Lando's sitting there, they're listening to him, and we get a shot of Rose. I like the fact that they showed Rose in this trailer. A lot of people have been led to believe that they were kind of trying to push her to the back. I still get the impression she's not going to have a huge role in this film, but it is nice to see her in the trailer. They're clearly not shying away from showing her off. I like that. And here is a cool shot of Finn, Poe, and Chewbacca. I like this because Finn and Poe are together. I really do want to see a lot of just good Finn and Poe moments in this film. I feel these two had great on-screen chemistry in The Force Awakens. The scenes they had together, the few of them that they had together in The Last Jedi were also good, but I really want to see these two and their chemistry play out on screen even more than we've seen up until this point. And then we get the shot of the Tanto 4. My prediction is actually that is going to be the ship that Lando is flying on. My guess is that they're going to be on this forest planet and Lando's just going to arrive on the Tanto 4. In that scene where you see all the Resistance soldiers kind of gathered around him, I'm assuming that's actually happening right below this ship. That's my not so bold prediction for this film. And then we get the shot of the lightsaber duel in there's like an ocean, and the ruins of the Death Star are in it. So Rey's looking pretty fierce here, and my boy Kylo is stepping through the rain like a boss. What more could you say about that? And there's this shot. There's this shot of a bunch of TIE fighters. It looks like they're approaching some giant ice sculpture. Like, it's so difficult to tell exactly what's going on here. My guess is like it's kind of a giant like glacier. And then there's the reflection of it at the bottom on some sort of body of water. That's just kind of what it looks like to me. But if we move forward, there's a shot of some sort of throne, I'm guessing. That's kind of what it looks like to me. And the Emperor is talking. I'm honestly not really sure what to make of that. Then there are these shots of these Star Destroyers. This one looks like it's maybe coming out of a body of water. And this is the money shot right here for a lot of people. This is the one that got a lot of people talking earlier before the actual trailer debuted. A lot of people have taken notice of the fact that that is the Ghost over to the far right side. The Ghost is back. I don't know what to really make of that either. If I had to guess, I would say the Ghost crew are not gonna make a cameo in this film, but I mean, who knows? Like they're there clearly. There are a lot of ships in this shot, like so many ships. There's like a hammerhead in there, a bunch of just looks like rebellion era vessels in this shot. So I'm guessing that this is the big fleet they're going to be taking to take on the fleet of Star Destroyers that we saw in the last trailer. So I guess that could make for an interesting battle. Moving forward, this is the shot we saw before this trailer debuted of our main heroes in the cockpit of the Falcon. Really doesn't get much better than this. This is what makes me smile about this new trilogy, about this film specifically. Our three new heroes, a couple of other familiar faces from the original trilogy on the Falcon. That's great to me. There's not much more I can ask for than that. Another shot of Rey and Kylo fighting. I love it. This scene looks really cool. I'm guessing this is some vehicle they're going to be taking either, I don't know, to get to the Death Star or maybe even get away from it. But I like this. Like I don't know what the heck it is. It's like a water skimmer almost, but it looks cool. Kind of reminds you of the Resistance like ski speeders that we saw on Crate. So I like that a lot. And then there's this shot of C-3PO, and a lot of people are probably going to be talking about this, but I don't think this scene is as emotional as it might be implied by what we see here. Like, I feel like in that sequence, it's kind of supposed to give you the idea that, like, this is like C-3PO's farewell or goodbye, and it might be some sort of farewell or goodbye, but I don't think he's going to be, like, dying or going away or anything like that. I think they're just going to be basically, I don't know, like making him a different, like maybe putting him in a different mode or just making him useful in a different way than we've seen before. Like there was the shot of him in the last trailer with the red eyes, so I'm assuming that's going to be part of his transition into whatever the heck else he's going to be. But I don't think this is like a spoiler or anything. I don't think this is like in the context of the film is going to be that monumental of a goodbye as would be implied by this trailer. I'd also, before I move forward, I'd like to take notice of the fact that, I mean, if C-3PO were to quote-unquote, like, die, or, I don't know, how do you describe a droid dying? I don't know. If C-3PO were to perish in this film, I would argue, like, would that really be a big deal, considering the fact that between the original trilogy and the prequels, he got his memory wiped anyways, so he was basically a completely different person. So if they were to just build another, protocol droid that looked like him, they could just do that, no big deal. It'd basically be the same thing as the difference between him from the original trilogy to the prequels. So I don't know, that's something to think about. This is probably my favorite shot from the trailer. It's action packed. I love this. This is one of the things I love about the prequels. Like the camera's moving, our heroes are running through some sort of, I'm guessing like first order establishment. I would assume it's first order given just the shape of like the walls. There are a lot of hexagon shapes, and the First Order loves their hexagons for whatever reason. But we got our boys Finn, Poe, and Chewbacca running through, shooting down some stormtroopers. Like, I want to see more of this stuff. This is like peak, like Rise of Skywalker for me. I love these parts of the film. Then, of course, the beautiful shot of Rey embracing Leia. I really do wonder, like, what are the implications of that scene? That shot was really cool as well. Like, I guess it's like some sort of like grenade or something that BB-8 ignites in the Pisana speeder chase sequence. It's just cool. The yellow burst of gas or whatever that is just looks awesome. I mean, you can't really say much more than it. So this is a very cool concept. This is, I guess, the surface of a Star Destroyer, and they're like on horses, like galloping on it. Like, that's a cool idea. It's a cool concept. I'd love to see like what the end goal is here, like what they're trying to achieve here. But this shot definitely has my interest peaked. Then Rey and Kylo were in the Emperor's throne room, I presume. This is actually a really interesting shot because it's not very obvious where they are. Like, it's clearly either First Order or Imperial, just given by the scenery. But I mean, it's all white. It's not really like anything First Order or Imperial that we've seen before. Kylo's in his helmet, which implies that It's not directly adjacent to any of the other scenes we've seen him in, because I don't think we've seen him in a single trailer so far with the helmet on. So I don't know. I don't really know like where this might be taking place in the film, but they're fighting and they destroy something in the foreground. I don't know what it is, but they destroyed it. Got another shot of Finn and Poe, and then this is just another shot of our heroes once again just charging on the surface of a Star Destroyer. One thing I will say is it looks like they're actually on the surface of a First Order Star Destroyer. If you just kind of look up towards the bridge area, I don't know, it just kind of looks like a First Order Star Destroyer to me, as opposed to the Imperial Star Destroyers that are in the background. And you also notice all the Imperial Star Destroyers are facing the same way. It looks like this Star Destroyer that they're on is like perpendicular to them. So yeah, I would assume it's a First Order Star Destroyer. And then another shot of our boy Kylo. And this is one of the shots that I'm not really too sure like what's going on here. I would assume that's the Emperor right there to the left. It's obviously purposefully cropped to make it, I guess, not so obvious. But you hear his laugh, so that's, I guess, the implication here.
The Force will be with you.
And then finally, Rey is standing with her lightsaber and a quote from Luke. And that is the end of the trailer. So some closing thoughts on this trailer. I think I generally like the trailer. It's cool to see our heroes once again all together. I'm just very excited to see the journey they take on this film. That is what I'm looking forward to the most in this trailer. Things I didn't like about the trailer is, of course, the involvement of the Emperor. I do appreciate the fact that it's not so in your face and made to be such a big deal as it was in maybe like the original trailer. It's kind of subdued here. It's just a small part of a bigger piece of this film, so I appreciate that. But one thing I did actually want to leave you guys with, and I know some of you are probably tired of hearing me complain about The Rise of Skywalker, and this isn't really a huge complaint. It's not something I'm going to like really harp on, but it's something that I kind of wanted to get out there, and it's kind of a concern I have for this film. If you look at that last, or I'm assuming it's going to be the last battle, right? The one with the giant fleet of Star Destroyers and the giant, I guess, rebel fleet, presumably. I don't know exactly what that's going to be. But my concern is that the overall aesthetic of that engagement to me feels more of like an original trilogy engagement. Like it essentially looks like a bunch of rebel ships fighting a bunch of Imperial ships. And if that happens to be the case, of course, I'm just basing this off of a few shots from a trailer. I think that's concerning. I think that this film really should have its own identity, and that big battle, if it just, you know, aesthetically looks like a bunch of Imperial ships versus a bunch of Rebel ships, I don't know. That's kind of uninteresting to me. I feel like when we're in this new time frame, we're in the sequel trilogy, it should look like the sequel trilogy. And I know a lot of people are going to bring up the fact that, in the sequels, they're still using TIE Fighters, Star Destroyers, X-Wings, but those are at least like different vehicles, right? Like those aren't just the same Rebel vehicles that we got from the original trilogy. They have been evolved in some way, but it seems like they're kind of taking a step back from that due to the fact that there's Imperial Star Destroyers that they're apparently going to have to take down. So I'm just really hoping that this movie doesn't look like an original trilogy film, if that makes sense to you guys. There's clearly a lot of like direct from the original trilogy stuff in this. I'm not going to complain too hard about that until I see the film, but it is definitely a concern of mine at this moment in time. But that's going to finish up the video, guys. I would love to know how you feel about this trailer. Did you like it, love it? What were some of your favorite parts? And of course, what do you think about my analysis and my thoughts, predictions? Let me know all that stuff in the comment section down below. And finally, guys, if you like what I do, go ahead, support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.